In this episode of Policy Videos, I'll be going over the four linkage institutions and how each of them affect trade policy in America. The four linkage institutions are the media, interest groups, political parties, and campaigns. The media's main purpose is to inform the people about important issues and how they may be impacted. Interest groups are organizations of like-minded people who together try to influence government and its policies. A political party's main goal is to get a candidate elected into office so that the candidate can push a party's agenda. And finally, campaigns and elections allow people to have a chance to change the people who represent them or keep the same people. Now, how do these impact trade policy? Let's start with mass media. Most people nowadays receive majority of their news from social media apps and other websites, which can be easily found all over the internet. One thing to note about how media affects trade policy is that more often than not today, most reporters choose to go for trending topics and big name stories. This could result in lesser issues such as farmers and underdeveloped areas not getting the recognition that they should. The trade policy that was brought into light the most recently was the trade policy regarding China. The newest trade policy with China includes a new 15% tariff on about $112,000 billion worth of Chinese imports. Now, the media served to educate the public of this new trade policy and also how it could potentially affect the economy. Now let's move on to interest groups. An interest group has an advantage in that is more likely to know more about the particular area of interest. For example, a group representing the firms in an industry is likely to be well informed about industry conditions. Interest groups serve as a potential source of information for both voters and policymakers. The groups can advise the voters about different candidates' positions and can also advise policymakers about which policies appeal to more people. One interest group that focuses on trade policy is the Associated Equipment Distributors. This group is an international trade association representing companies involved in the distribution, rental, and support of equipment used in construction, mining, forestry, power generation, agriculture, and industrial applications. This interest group is the members' voice in Washington industry education, training and career development research, analysis, and information on markets. Next, we have the effect of political parties on trade policy. The Republican Party promotes open markets and the expansion of free trade. The belief is that not only does trade grow the American economy, but it also spreads global freedom. Based off of the party's platform, voters can then educate themselves on the topics and issues and then make their decisions on who to vote for. Political parties will try to convince their supporters that their policy is superior, which will mobilize those voters and also lead them to recruit other people to support their policy. The Republican Party has done a great job providing evidence that their trade policy works. The party states that the 25% tariff on steel from China and other countries back in 2019 has rebuilt the American steel industry. Finally, we have elections. Elections serve to keep the power resting with the people by giving them a chance to keep or change who represents them. Currently, our economy is not doing that well because of the virus. However, it is not due to the trade policy, which many people were actually in favor of prior to the virus shutting everything down. If majority of Americans felt that the trade policy was not the best for the country, then they could elect officials who would push a different trade policy agenda in effort to bring about change. Thank you for watching and have a great rest of your day.